Hey everyone, Austin here again with another quick play. Sort of Deja Vu style. For those of you guys that have been hanging out with me this month in October 2022, your eyes are not deceiving you. We are, in fact, doing Castlevania III again. I know, this is kind of a cop-out video. This is my desperate attempt to try to crank out some more content. But I had this idea just randomly today, and that is to try to play through the second loop of this game. Very, very difficult challenge, regardless of which path you take. A couple weeks back, we did a full playthrough of the first loop with the one of the Alucard routes. There's a couple different routes you can go with Alucard, but one of the more infamous ones. And yeah, today what we're going to do is we're going to play through the Sypha route, but it's going to be the second loop. Basically, this game's hard mode. So when you beat Castlevania 3, the game loops again. It starts over, and it is a lot more challenging. There are more enemies that appear throughout the course of the game. There's also different enemy types now that weren't in the first loop. And you take maximum damage for just about the whole playthrough. And yeah, it's quite tough. You really have to be a master of this game in order to consistently get through its second quest, or its hard mode, if you will. So yeah, I kind of wanted to try to do this in my first Castlevania 3 video earlier this month, but that playthrough took us over an hour as is, and I didn't want it to take yet another hour on top of that. I was also pretty tired when I recorded that video. So what we're going to do is kind of jump back into it with a fresh perspective, and we're going to attempt the second loop. Now, since I haven't actually just beaten the game in this sitting, I do have to use a password. So let's go to the password screen here. And unfortunately, I have not gotten a password for myself manually, like beating the game, getting a game over, then grabbing the password that way. So I have to resort to game FAQs here. And unfortunately, the only second loop passwords they have that are not Trevor only, you have to use the Help Me name. And for those of you guys that don't know, Help Me gives you 10 lives to start. And this is actually a good crutch for brand new players of Castlevania 3 in general. I don't like using this code anymore, so I am a little disappointed. I have to use it in order to just show off Loop 2. So let's go ahead and just hit end. Now there is a Trevor-only Loop 2 password on Game FAQs. It starts you with 3 lives. However, because you're on the second loop, you can't pick up any new characters, so you literally have to go through the whole game with just Trevor. I actually tested that out. I did play through the first 2 stages on Loop 2, got to Sypha. There was no, handshake or anything. It just pushed me past the character exception part, which was kind of a bummer. So, or acceptance. So, all right, let's go. Where is my Sypha password? Begin second quest with an ally. Again, you have to type in the name Help Me, so we're going to do 2 whips here, and then a third one at the very end. And then we're going to do cross in the second slot here, and on our third row, we're going to do cross and then hearts. So cross and then heart over here. And then the last one's going to be a whip and then a heart in the last 2 slots. So we go ahead and hit start, and it should jump us into Loop 2. Boom, there we go. And we're at the very beginning of the game. I could switch over to Sypha if I really want to. Just like so, which I might actually do just for now, just to get that. That is her fire spell. Very, very useful attack. It does a lot of damage. We'll probably be using that quite a bit here on this second loop. But for those of you guys already familiar with the first loop of Castlevania 3, you'll notice that there are zombies here now that were not here in the first loop. And there's also that skeleton warrior up top. So you can already see how there are, several more enemies that weren't there before on the first loop. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to hit that skeleton guy with my short-range whip here, but here we go. I've got my fully upgraded whip now. Now, probably the worst new enemy type in this game is the replacement of the Medusa heads. All the Medusa heads in this game have been replaced with these skull heads. And their pattern is completely random. And that's what makes this second loop so difficult. Is, all the other static enemies, not really a big deal to deal with. Yeah, it's more enemies. When you've got sub-weapons and things like that, you're generally pretty good to deal with them. I wouldn't say this loop is that much more difficult when it comes to your standard enemies, like your skeletons and things like that. Even some of the bat, placements, still not that hard to deal with. But it's the replacement of the Medusa heads that really makes this loop very, very challenging. Also, these ghosts here, they are much, much faster now. Ooh, I didn't mean to take a hit there, but, you know, just like Castlevania 1, on some ceilings you can actually drop holy water into them, and enemies like the ghosts will just run straight into it. And kind of like I mentioned in our last playthrough of Castlevania 3, the holy water in this game is very, very good. It operates differently than Castlevania 1, but it's still extremely good. And this is where we see our skulls for the first time. And I'm going to attempt this with just Trevor. Sometimes playing with Sypha here is actually a good idea, because she's got a very short-range attack, but it's also very fast. And that is actually very, very good. But you can see how, like, their movement is not predictable. Sometimes they bounce below you, sometimes they go above you. They're so hard to deal with. But I'm glad I got through that part without dying, because as long as I get through this next part, I will be able to get some a health refill. Go ahead and get some bonus points there. You can combo enemies with sub-weapons in this, and that was dumb on my part. I was an idiot for doing that. I should not have done that, but at least the checkpoint was through that door. Yeah, see, I tried jumping up and attacking that bat, and I ended up just taking a hit instead. And what kind of sucks about that is I don't think I can get holy water again before the boss fight. So I kind of lost my opportunity to, you know, absolutely annihilate the boss easily. And it's going to be a hunchback over here. Although the axe works really well against it. The hunchbacks are later in future Castlevanias be turned into what, you know, are called flea men. Which are a little more annoying, honestly. I prefer the old hunchbacks because they have a fairly predictable pattern. Their pattern can be adjusted, you know, sometimes they'll just jump high immediately, but a lot of times they like to bounce forward, do like a couple of baby hops once or twice, and with Trevor in particular, you can just stand and whip and then attack them that way. I'm gonna whip all these candles just to see if there is holy water, but I don't think there will be. That's always the dagger. And I should have actually switched over to Sypha for that, so I could have given her a fire spell. Whoops. It's not really much. Oh my god, I did it again. There wasn't really much I could have done there, because I had one enemy on one side and a bat on the other. I'm gonna have to just tank hits right here. Ooh, nice. I was able to do it in time without taking a hit. Ideally, the strategy should have been to come over here and then use this platform up top to go over him, but I wasn't really thinking. I'm so used to having holy water there, where I can drop holy water right as he appears, and then duck and smack him in the face at the same time and just do rapid damage. But because I was dumb and I died, I lost my holy water, unfortunately. I am not going to take the clock tower. Alright, screw it. Let's do the clock tower. You know, we're going to do the clock tower because I did not do the clock tower on the previous playthrough. Now, the clock tower gets a little shisty on loop 2, so I'm a little worried about it, honestly, but we'll just kind of see what happens. Especially coming back down the clock tower, that's going to be rough, because we're not going to have Grant. Normally, on loop 1, you have Grant on the way back, if you choose to take him. I mean, why would you play the clock tower without taking Grant with you? And Grant is a very flexible character who can latch onto walls and ceilings. Very, very useful character. Now I can jump up these gaps, but it's a little risky. I mean, I've been playing so much Castlevania over the years that it's not really a huge deal for me, but it's still a risk. No matter how good I am at this game, it is still risky. Sometimes I don't make it, and I die. You know, as much as I want the holy water, I am thinking the axe might actually be a little more useful because of all the flying enemies. You know, we're going to have the skeleton heads again, just bouncing back and forth, and it's, you know, long-range projectile like this might actually be a little more handy. Pretty sure this enemy right there was not in the first loop, so again, you know, more enemies than there were in the first loop. Just jump straight up here, just like that. You can always just latch onto that right away if you go up there fast enough. And it is not a bad idea to use Sypha on these parts where you've got flying bats, because while her weapon is short range, it's much easier to time because it comes out faster. Her attack is much faster than Trevor's. And so a lot of people don't like using her attack because it's weak, just like with Grant. Grant has a short-range knife in this version. But they come out so fast that you can oftentimes just sort of stun-lock enemies. And Grant in particular is really good with it because he can duck under a lot of objects that other characters cannot duck under. So it almost looks like these guys have a similar, you know, spawning mechanism as regular Medusa heads, and it seems to be based on what side of the screen you're facing. Whew! Scary stuff, man. There we go, using my axe like I said. Oh, man. This is too scary. Please go away. Oh, man. Oh, I really hate those guys, but we got a checkpoint. Okay, so... You know, in a way, I'm kind of glad we actually were forced to use the help me code, because now I have more of a buffer. Again, normally I don't like using the help me code. It's like a crutch, and I don't want a crutch. I think this might be a dagger up here, so let's switch over to Sypha. Yep. So the dagger is always for a dagger for Trevor is the flame for Sypha. Not that it matters anymore. I didn't think there'd be any more of those skulls here, but so that's kind of a problem. I am just going to use Sypha here. Because again, she's got the short... Whoa there. That was not what I was planning. This is why sometimes it's better to just take the stairs. Things can get, again, a little shisty. But look at that. Nice fast attack. Just smacked it right in the face. Alright. Whew! Again, scary stuff. These guys just really make this playthrough very, very stressful. But I'm just trying to watch them. And I'm trying to react to them. And that is pretty difficult. You know. Ugh. Yeah, it's so stressful because you don't know where they're going. So there's another really difficult Famicom game called Holy Diver. A lot of you guys have requested me to play that over the years. I have never finished the game. A lot of it is because of enemies like those skulls. Holy Diver has enemies just like those skulls that are completely random. And it's very, very difficult to deal with. So this is Grant in monster form. If you had played this on your first loop, he would turn into a human again after you defeat him. And then you could take him with you. And Grant is an amazing character. He can climb on the walls and the ceiling. In the Japanese version, he throws throwing knives. That's his permanent weapon. In the US version, they took those away, sort of, and they gave him a short-range knife. Which a lot of people say they don't like, but it actually gives him a lot more flexibility. I was just explaining that on my one of my streams of Dracula X recently, or Rondo of Blood. And he can still pick up the throwing knife and still use it just like he does in the Japanese version, except now it uses hearts. But now he's got that flexibility of being able to use long-range projectiles and have a short-range attack that's really fast. It's even faster than Sypha's sword. Or stick, or whatever she's using. I don't know what she's using, actually. I always assumed maybe it was like a staff or something, but I'm not sure. Okay, this is going to be a little shisty. I'm saying shisty a lot. It's because things are very shisty on this run. Wow, we actually got through that without taking damage. That was actually pretty good. Alright, good time to switch back over to Trevor just to see if I can get some, you know, get a whip upgrade or something like that. Here we go, there's one. Got the doubler. Now, unfortunately, since I do not have Grant, there is an extra life opportunity here that I have to miss. So if you're playing as Alucard on the second loop, or you're playing as Grant on either loop, you could go up to that top right block, smack it, and there's a 1-up. So very good to know. Yeah, it seems like Sypha was a really good choice here because, okay, Can I do that? I can. That's what I thought. I couldn't remember. Yeah, so there are some shortcuts on the way back down, which is nice. So going down doesn't take nearly as long as going up. See, right here? It's just really great level design. It's easy to write off a lot of old 8-bit games as just being kind of archaic and ancient, but the top-tier stuff on NES in particular can be very, very well designed, and the level design still holds up great. Can I make it? Okay, I can. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! And I had just latched back on, too. There we go. Now, just like the first Castlevania, bats and Medusa heads will come out at the same level that you are in the screen. So if I'm at the top of the screen, the bats will come out at the top. If I'm at the bottom, they'll come out at the bottom. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and just climb down here slowly. And if I was Grant, I could actually climb underneath that top platform. Ooh, we got the freeze spell. I normally don't have that. Pretty good spell, actually. It's actually very good. It freezes enemies in place. Alright, let's just fall down here. And that's fine. See, the freeze spell allows you to freeze just about any enemy in the game. And then you can just break them apart in one hit. It's actually quite nice. Alright. I don't even care at this point. Too many flying skulls. It makes the game so stressful. Now, one of the benefits of taking the Sypha route, though, is that there are some exploits I can do later on in the game, like on the doppelganger fight, which will make my life a lot easier. And if you're trying to beat Loop 2 for the first time, I highly recommend the Sypha route. I don't recommend the Alucard or Grant routes. Unless you're... I mean, you can get Grant and take him through the Sypha route. It's one of the great things about this game, is there's so much flexibility. Wait for these owls to pop out. Gonna go ahead and use the boomerang just like I did in my last playthrough. Very useful for this part. This is one of those examples where, you know, it's a game where, you know, the developers really give you the tools to deal with the different situations you're up against. So you've got these enemies that are like in the middle of the screen, you can jump up and throw your boomerang, that's by design. It's obviously by design. And so if you use those tools, then the situations you run into are made a good bit easier. Just come on up here, those red skeletons always come back. Sometimes I can just, like, use the boomerang right here. Just like that. Do it to where I'm not all the way up on that top platform. And I can avoid those projectiles. The boomerang actually is really good in this game. I mean, it really genuinely is. It typically is in Castlevania games, but it's always been better in some Castlevanias versus others. It's really, really good in this one. I'd say it's the second best weapon in the game. I mean, it might even just be the best weapon in the game, honestly. Because, like, Holy Water is fantastic, but it's also extremely short range. It's not quite as useful in all scenarios. And the axe is really good in this one, too, actually. Not gonna lie. You know, I might even hold on to the boomerang. We've got a doubler. You know, it allows me to shoot long range. So maybe this will actually be quite handy on the Cyclops. If we can get to the Cyclops with the boomerang, I think we'll actually annihilate the Cyclops in a way that I don't normally do. Cyclops is one of those enemies that, or bosses that, I typically just fight with the Holy Water, which means I end up fighting him mostly with my whip, and not, you know, not my sub-weapon. Although there are some ways to have Holy Water land on the side platforms at the Cyclops, and you can do some rapid damage that way, but it's kind of hard to do. It's hard to line up, especially without taking damage. I mean, just look at that. So nice. And then you can jump over it, and it'll, you know, it'll go back to the other side of the screen, sometimes hit an enemy on the way back around. Ooh, not good. Kind of like that. Combo points. Alright, please don't hit me. Alright, we're good. Alright, so I've got about 2 hits I can absorb, then the third hit will kill me. There is some wall meat in this lower block here, but I'm gonna save it. I'm mistiming my boomerang. So Castlevania has always been one of those games where, you know, the farther you fall, the faster you fall. So if you're trying to, like, jump off a platform, maybe shoot your boomerang, like, halfway through the screen, or, you know, eye level with the Cyclops, it's hard to get that timing right. Because, again, the farther you fall, the faster you fall, and so your timing is hard to... It's just hard to adjust your timing. So I think I want to go ahead and just kind of stick this out with Trevor, because I do like the boomerang. It'll actually be really good for this section, where we've got a lot of enemies like these. Also, stopwatch might not be a horrible idea, just to make it through parts with the bouncing skeletons much easier. Kind of like that. Ugh. They're back, guys. Back with a vengeance. 2. Ooh, okay. It's tough to time that. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Alright, checkpoint. I'm on edge already. Those enemies always put me on edge on this loop. Oh, I did it again! Stupid bats. And honestly, less so stupid bats, more so stupid me for not paying attention to the bats. Stupid me. Switch over to Sypha, because this should be a dagger. Which means... flame. Let's go ahead and just let this fall down. Flame is so powerful. One of them... It's probably the most powerful weapon in the game, actually. Oh, that was my fault. Again, stupid me. Stupid, stupid me. It's not a Castlevania III Second Loop without copious amounts of berating myself. Oh, and again, stupid me. Back to Sypha. Yeah, unfortunately, I've been making a lot of simple mistakes, and for a run like this, I would honestly generally prefer to actually practice before I do a video like this. But I decided to go ahead and just kind of jump into this one somewhat blind. It's like, yeah, I recorded a Castlevania 3 video a couple weeks back, and I did get up to Sypha just earlier today just to see if I could use the Trevor-only password and still pick up Sypha. But unfortunately, it turns out I couldn't. Alright, just go on up. Sypha is really good for this part, because she can kill those ghosts in one hit. And her flame is actually... it goes farther than Trevor's whip. Yeah, I'd really like these guys to come down here, so I can do that. Come on, man. Down here. Alright, let's see. I don't want to get hit by a bone. There we go. Alright, I'm going to use Sypha on the boss. The mini-boss. Because her flame does a lot of damage, and it's... I don't know if I can really do it with Trevor. I don't really have any good sub-weapons for him right now. I don't think I have any, because I died. And Sypha is much better to deal with these bats, too. And we're dead. Yeah, this stuff is rough, man. It is quite rough. And unfortunately, trying to manipulate the bats at this point is not gonna do me any good because of how the platforms are positioned. I mean, I could try to just jump over this bat. Kind of like that. Maybe jump over that one. And, ooh, I barely made that. That was tense. Yeah, see, if I didn't actually have the help me code activated, we would have gotten a game over already, and I would have had to do, you know, some of these levels multiple times. And again, had I practiced this before doing this, I would be in much better shape. I would know, okay, this section, I have to just jump over the bat, not attack the bat. But I don't have those aspects memorized right now. And people have to remember things like that when they play these games, is certain challenges like this can be really difficult, but you can still practice them and get better at them and learn from your mistakes and memorize the levels and enemy layouts and memorize the various strategies you have to use to get through these challenges consistently. Second Loop Castlevania 3 is very difficult, but it's not impossible. It's not even close. It's just about learning how to deal with all the situations, and doing so is a little bit harder than learning the game normally. More wall meat. All right. Making progress. Yeah, one of the great things about Sypha's Fire Spell is that it's got a really big hitbox. So notice I've been using it to kind of cut through the ceiling to hit enemies just slightly above me. So even though she doesn't have a weapon right now that just goes, say, directly upwards, the flame can kind of hit that bill, or fit that bill, if there's an enemy, say, directly above you. It's just also got really good range. Now if I had Grant or Alucard, I could actually just fly over that platform. Come on over here. I thought there was another ghost. Nope, apparently not. And I'm just going to use Sypha for this boss fight. So we have our two mummies and then another Cyclops. Now, I think I described this in my last Castlevania 3 playthrough, but in the Japanese version of this game, the rightmost block was actually filled in, and the significance of that is that the Cyclops cannot walk through a solid wall. So in the Japanese one, this one counts as a solid wall, whereas in this one it doesn't, because there's a gap underneath the platform. Get him to smash down like that. All right, just jump over, smash down. Smash down again. And let's just tap. You're dead. Oh, man. It's like thwack. Alright. Well, back to making progress, thankfully. That level definitely had some rough spots, that's for sure. Man. That's some real rough spots. Alright, on to our tower. It's a pretty cool level, but this can be pretty challenging too. And this is another one where I will most likely just kind of take it with Sypha. Actually, I'm almost starting to think like there are points where Trevor might actually be better. Let's switch over real quick. Oops. See, Sypha definitely would have been better, and I'm not even hitting this guy. Man, that plan backfired big time. Alright, where are we at right now? First tower portion? Yeah, we're going back to Sypha. Sorry, Trevor. Sypha's, short-range attack is just so much more useful on staircases in particular. Like, Trevor's whip is fantastic. It's powerful, it's got reach, but it's also slow. And when you've got 3 enemies coming at you at seemingly all times, the whip just can't hold up. It just doesn't compared to these faster attacks. Yes, they're short, but it's easier to stay alive with them. Also, the hitbox seems pretty big on Sypha's sword. It's crazy, huh? Look at that. Just so many enemies. They just don't stop coming. Alright, got some health back. That's good. So my little experimentation with Trevor in the beginning was not so bad. I got all my health back. Pretty sure there's going to be a frost spell here. I actually don't want that. It is potentially useful later on. I'm gonna have to absorb a hit too. There's no way I was gonna get through that without taking damage. You know, I could have actually hit that top one, now that I think about it. And I could have manipulated its trajectory. Alright. This is sort of a form of auto-scrolling. And those knights are also new to Loop 2. They are much faster than the standard knights. And thus they are a little more difficult to deal with. What should we call this? Auto-scrolling or auto-dropping? Can't really think of too many other games that did this sort of auto-scroll mechanic, where it just drops tile by tile. If any of you guys know of other games that do it just like Castlevania 3 does, let me know. Alright, so there's an extra life opportunity down here, but I don't know if I'm going to take it. Also, I thought there were the blue balls down here. Yes, that is actually extremely handy. I do want that, actually. You can argue that this weapon is overpowered in this game, especially later on in the playthrough. But I don't care, this is the second loop. The second loop is pretty darn hard, so I'm not gonna complain. I'm just gonna take advantage of it. Especially in the next screen. Yeah, I was able to smack him 3 times before he could throw his axe out. Now, if I can smack these guys without using hearts, I will, because I have a limited amount. And you can see how this spell is powerful. Like, only one of those balls is hitting that bone pillar. It still only took 3 hits. Now, sometimes what ends up happening is multiple balls will hit the enemies. Now, the homing AI on these is not amazing, and so sometimes the balls will just kind of get stuck looping around in circles. And another reason these things are overpowered is they only use 1 heart. So they're powerful, you've got 3 projectiles, and they only use 1 heart. So I came into this screen with 30-something hearts. There we go. Whoa there! Nice. Alright. Oh, I was facing the wrong way. Alright, there is going to be some wall meets in the next arena. Oh, whew, that was scary too. Alright, I'm going to just play it safe here. There we go. And I think I'm just going to use Sypha for this part. There we go. This is Frankenstein's monster. Commonly reoccurring enemy in Castlevania. Oh, that's bad. Well, not game over, but I died. Holy crap, I'm all the way back here. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Oh boy. Alright. I get to do that whole section over again. Without the blue balls. Yeah, this will be interesting. Yeah, this is not good, actually. This is really not good. Now, there can only be so many of these projectiles on screen at once, and so you can kind of manipulate these guys a little bit. Whoa there. And this is just, at this point, it's all about positioning. Alright, that's fine. As long as I don't take a hit here, which is going to be easier said than done. Ugh, come on, Crow. There we go. I could probably just skip this guy. I think he'll disappear. Yeah, just like that. Alright, hopefully I can get this. I mean, the fire is pretty powerful, so... Oh! Whoa, whoa! That did a lot of damage. Or maybe my life wasn't full and I just wasn't paying attention. I thought my life was full. I don't think that actually did half my health. I think it might have done like 4 or 5 blocks. And I mistakenly thought my health bar was full. Alright, so I guess we're gonna stick with Sypha yet again. Just because her spells are very useful on this this level. Sorry, Trevor. Can't remember if I've ever actually done a second loop run with just Trevor himself. I feel like I've tried. No, I don't think I did. I think my big accomplishment was just doing loop 1, Trevor only. I don't think I've done a loop 2 Trevor only run. Nope. The freeze spell is really good too. I always forget if there's an extra life down there below that door. Yeah, the freeze is insanely good on this part. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think on the first level they only shoot out 2 projectiles, but as the game progresses they start shooting out more. Upwards of 3. Alright, I have to be careful here. Whew! Alright. Just let that bat fly by. I have to play it safe. I need my next checkpoint. We've got 5 lives left. Ooh, I thought I could just jump over and I'd be safe. 1, 2, 3. Freeze. And I think I'll get some health here too. There we go. Alright, I am going to have to switch over to a different weapon, and honestly, Trevor would probably be better here, because Sypha... I'd have to rely on her flame, which is probably not ideal for this boss. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Definitely not ideal now. Yeah, I forgot that this part's actually quite challenging on the second loop. Look at all these mermen, they're just constantly coming up. Whew, almost feels like I can't do anything about them. I'm just gonna try Sypha right now. We might have to switch over to Trevor and use the axe. And I'm dead. I knew that was gonna happen. The attack pattern for these guys is actually different in the Japanese version. They come up and they have these, this solid fire that actually tracks you. It actually goes towards wherever you are in the screen. So if you're slightly above, it'll shoot diagonally. If you're slightly below it, it'll shoot diagonally downwards towards you. But there's also a ton of slowdown in the Japanese version as a result. In the American version, there's not really much, which is kind of cool. I did it again! Alright. Try it with Sypha once more. I do think Trevor makes this boss a little bit easier. A big reason for that is that Trevor can use the axe. Sypha cannot. And so with the axe, you've got a nice arc, a nice throwing arc. You can also hit them from a distance. And with Sypha's flame, you cannot do that. If I really wanted to, I could switch over to Trevor. I think this is the axe candle. But the problem is his whip kind of sucks right now, so... We're gonna try it with Sypha again. One of the big issues is just this pattern right here. Okay, that works for me. And at this point, I can just try to tank. Oh, it didn't even reach. Just playing it real safe. There we go. Nope, gonna play it safe. There we go. Hey, we got it. Yeah, just bopping them on the head actually works really well. I was doing a bunch of damage. And, you know, basically half of the health bar is one of them, the other half is the other. Whew! Man, that was scary. Alright, so this is a very different route from the Alucard route we took on our last playthrough. Our Loop 1 playthrough. Here's the freeze. The freeze will be pretty good here. I don't think this level should be too bad. Especially if I can hold on to the freeze for a while. Some tight jumps here, though. These are tight even on Loop 1, so... Now, when enemies get frozen, they are on a timer. And if you freeze enemies at, you know, at different moments, one enemy is going to become unfrozen before the other does. And so you have to prioritize which enemy you smack. Otherwise, an enemy is going to come back to life, and you're going to probably take a hit. And as you can see, they also start blinking when they're about to come back. I am just taking advantage of this awesome spell. I can just freeze enemies and just walk past them if I want. I don't have to kill them. Again, Bone Pillars, it's all about that, that shot that comes out 3 times. A lot of basic patterns in this game. As long as you follow the pattern, you should be okay. Like, notice I'm freezing that first projectile. Now, I have to get my timing right. If I don't, then it'll smack me in the face and I'll take damage. Is this a big heart? I think it might be a big heart. No, it's the fire spell. Nope, nothing there. Okay. Alright, this will be wall meat right here, which I don't need. Man, we've lost a lot of lives. Even though we started with 10, I only have 3. Hopefully we can get to the boss with these 3 and defeat said boss, so I don't have to do this level over again. Now there's an extremely tight jump here. Ooh, it's always scary. Easily the hardest jump in the entire game. Probably one of the hardest jumps in all of Castlevania. I know Castlevania Chronicles has a jump on Dracula's level. Very similar to that in how tight it is. Ooh, that was close. Alright, I think I want to try to hold on to the freeze as long as I can. And this section coming up might have bouncy skeletons. I don't know, we'll see. Actually, if I come over here, I think this is the stopwatch normally. But with Sypha, it's blue balls. There we go. Okay. That's actually pretty easy, even on loop 2. That's good. I have 26 hearts. Alright, I'm actually doing really well on hearts right now, which is good. I'm gonna come over here. We have to fight the mummies again. And then it's gonna be the Cyclops once more. I guess one of my complaints with Castlevania 3 is there is repeat content, unfortunately. Even on a single loop. Like, you're gonna end up running into some of the same bosses again. You know, which is fine. It was a way to extend content back in the day without, you know, having to take up precious resources, because resources were extremely finite back then. People often forget that these cartridges used very tiny ROMs. I want to say something like 256 kilobytes was like normal for NES games. Or kilobytes, I think, not kilobits. I digress. Now, in later generations, when you had CD-ROM storage, much more storage space, there was no excuse to be reusing boss fights like that. But in the NES era, when cartridge space was very finite, very limited, you know, it was more reasonable. Some games definitely implemented it better than others. I don't mind it in Castlevania 3. Now, interestingly, these zombies here are faster and stronger than the ones you see earlier in the game, and they also do not give you points. So that is a pretty big Loop 2 difference. And we're going to go ahead and just stick it out with Sypha. Alright, jump over this way. Oh, I should have kept moving over to the right. It's okay. We still have a life refill opportunity. Oh, I did it again! That's what I get for jumping. Alright, big heart, and I think there's going to be wall meat in this next hallway. Yeah, we're almost at an hour already, because I died a bunch of times. This loop is not, even with the Sypha route, this loop is not easy. It is not easy. We'll try to use the blue balls on the Grim Reaper. Or, actually... the next room I can get holy water. I might just do that with Trevor. I might just grab the holy water, because it's extremely useful in his first form. Alright, I have to not... this is gonna actually be kind of hard, because the holy water's up in one of those higher candles. And I'm not gonna be able to reach it with Trevor. I think I'm gonna have to stick with Sypha. Freeze. Freeze isn't going to do me any good on the boss fight, so I'm just going to skip it. Now, if I can get through Death's first form, I think we might be okay. But I don't have high hopes. I mean, we've got almost full health. I can take 2 hits, and then the third one will kill me. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and skip these candles just like before. And I will be trying to jump over this knight. Hopefully I don't take a hit this time. I did that on my last playthrough. Jump! Okay, good. It's a little bit of a tight jump. Alright, let's see what happens here. Oh, I completely whiffed. Completely whiffed. Ho 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 ho. I did not expect it to do that much damage. That was actually pretty funny. Wow. Alright, we got it. Awesome. Well, basically that out of the way, we're kind of on the last stretch. We're on the last couple of tough levels, and then that's it. Hopefully we can make this happen without continuing. I'm still disappointed I lost more than 6 lives. But at least we're at the home stretch, guys. This is a pretty long level. This will probably take us a good, like, 10 minutes to go through. And I'm just going to keep using Sypha's blue balls. Which will actually be really handy on a upcoming section here. A lot of verticality on this level. And I love that with Sypha I can just stand and attack. See what's up there. Big heart, that was worth it. Money. Money. Money is just points in this game, nothing special. I mean, you do get extra lives from points, so it's not the worst thing ever. That's probably going to be an axe up top. Let's try that again. Yep, for Sypha, it's always the book. The fire spell, I should say. And I want to jump on this one. Wait for that spike thing to drop. Jump over, just like that. And I will just come up here like that. Alright, this is going to be a tough part. It's a lot like the Red Tower. Just kind of take my time. I've got plenty of time here, so I'm not really hurting for time. Now, ammo, on the other hand, I might be hurting for. Here we go. You'll notice that I'm also oftentimes just kind of stopping myself on the staircase. And that's to position myself for attacking those bone gargoyles or whatever they're called. You know, despite how big of a fan I am of the Castlevania series, there are a lot of enemy name types I actually don't know. I probably should know, but I don't. So I kind of call them what they look like. And it's like, well, they're sort of like gargoyles, and they're obviously bony skeletons. Alright, so my goal is to get to the boss with the blue balls. Now, thankfully, even if I die and I lose my blue balls, I will have the opportunity to get them again at the last checkpoint of this level. So it's not really a big deal if I die. However, they do make my life a lot easier here. As you can see, they're killing these skeleton knights in one hit. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And there's an extra life opportunity over here to the right. And we will definitely go for that. Alright, quickly move up. Got it. Awesome. Very tight jumps here, if you choose to make them. Another skeleton knight. Okay, a big heart. That's 5 hearts. I always try to grab the big hearts because that's, you know, 5 more uses of this sub-weapon. Alright, and there's wall meat over to the right. I don't need it, so I'm going to just stick this out with Sypha again. This is one of the tougher sections in the game. Lots of mermen. We also have crows. But thankfully, I've got the blue ball spell. And sometimes the homing actually does work for you. Whew! Alright, good first half. I'm just going to ignore these candles, because I don't know what's in them. I'm pretty sure there's a fire spell somewhere here, and I don't really want it. Alright, so I have to be really careful here. Okay. Alright, good deal. Alright, move them over, they'll disappear eventually, then there's a big heart right here. Alright, so this is the doppelganger. I'm gonna jump immediately over this way. And just cheese Sypha. Doppelganger Sypha. There are different ways to cheese this fight with different characters. On our last playthrough, I sat down here with Trevor and used my axe, and he just got stuck in place where that red ball, or where that red orb appeared. Whew! Alright, we have 5 lives left. This is our final level. Let's see if we can make it through. And even if I die here, I'm pretty sure I can get the blue ball spell again with Sypha, which is very useful here. We got a bunch of crows and bats, and on the next section we have the flying skulls again. Alright, let's see how we do here. This is definitely one of the tougher parts of the game, especially on the second loop. And it gets really slow here, too. I kind of want that, but I also kind of don't. Oh, not good. You don't want to get pushed too high up into the heads-up display, otherwise you will actually get crushed. Oh, you know what? The blue ball spell is the equivalent of the boomerang. I just remembered that. The frost spell is basically holy water. And the stopwatch is just a stopwatch. I forgot that Sypha can actually use a stopwatch. Let's see what this is. Big heart. Okay, I actually need that. I think there's an extra life up here, too. Yes. I'm gonna just attack attack this bone pillar from a distance? Oh, that was bad. Alright, you know, screw it. Just hit the door. Who cares? Alright, let's see if I can get some wall meat here. Ooh, okay, that was close. It's fine, though. I am going to just try to take Sypha to Dracula. If I can take Sypha to the Dracula, I think we might actually be okay. Normally I would use Trevor with his axe, but since we have Sypha and her blue ball spell, I can just use that. Unfortunately, I have to be really careful at Dracula. And one of the things about the Dracula fight in this as well is that in the US version, if you die, you have to go all the way back through this section again. So that can definitely be a little frustrating, especially when things like that happen. Oh boy, okay. Alright, we might as well grab this. Switch over to Trevor. That way I can grab this axe. I still want to use Sypha on the next section. Oh, is the axe is up top. Oh, boy. I have to switch back over. And that's why. That is precisely why. Alright, let's try this again. There it is. Alright, switch back. Switching does, unfortunately, take a little while. It's one thing I loved about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which was heavily inspired by Castlevania III, is the switching is pretty much instantaneous, which is pretty cool. Oh, I almost got smacked by that bat again. Alright, we're good. Alright, and just like on the first loop, you can just kind of grind out for hearts, which I will definitely be doing. So in the Japanese version of the game, you actually get the blue balls up here. You don't get that in the North American version. That was one way they made the American version a little more challenging. And I think we'll still be fine. I just need to grind out enough hearts, so I've got the axe to use with Trevor. It's actually kind of interesting how little we've been using Trevor in this playthrough. In a Loop 1 playthrough, it would be the opposite. I would mostly use Trevor. But Loop 2 with Sypha, I definitely recommend sticking with Sypha. Between her fast attack with the big hitbox, and the ability to just like smack enemies right in front of you easily, along with her powerful spells, kind of makes her a no-brainer. I'll do this once more, just to play it safe. I don't think I need that many hearts, 55, but we're gonna do it anyway. Doesn't take that long. Better safe than sorry. And I'll use Sypha for the first two forms, and I'll switch over to Trevor for the third one. So I like to move backwards a little bit. Ooh. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Alright, good. Alright, switch over to Trevor. I'm gonna go ahead and use the axe on that last part. You have to hit the parts with flesh still on them. And for Dracula's last form here, he shoots out these lasers, and they kind of go wherever you are in the screen. And I always just try to wait. Wait and bait them. Yep, just wait, like that. You really want to take this last form nice and slow. Otherwise, you can end up falling down into a pit. Or you'll bait the projectiles too high, and it'll be nearly impossible to jump over them. Especially this one on the right. Hey, hey, hey. We just beat Castlevania III, Loop 2. I'd love to say without continuing, but we unfortunately had the crutch of having a bunch of extra lives. So we will pretend we continued twice. Between the extra lives we got and whatnot, so... Oh, now I think there might even be an extended ending as well. We shall see. But yeah, we are, unfortunately, extremely close to the end of October as of doing this video. If not at the end of October, it may have already been Halloween, you know, prior to posting this. This month has just flown by with all the Castlevania goodness here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed all these playthroughs this month. If this is the last Castlevania playthrough for October, at least in terms of my quick play format, you know, I just want to say thanks to everyone that's been watching these videos this month. Hopefully you've been enjoying them. I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback this month for the Castlevania stuff. A lot of you guys just love this time of year on my channel. And it's always great to hear, and it's always great to see. So, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll see what happens after this text crawl here. Normally it, you know, gives you some stills anyway, which is cool. But we'll see if there's anything extra. It's been a long time since I've done a Loop 2 run of Castlevania 3. But yeah, that was the Sypha route. I mean, as you can see, you know, a lot of people, not a lot, but some people have commented on old Castlevania videos of mine, and they're like, oh, you copped out, you did the Sypha route, it's so easy. And I'm like, I don't know, man, any Loop 1 route for me is pretty doable. Loop 2, on the other hand, it doesn't really matter which route you take. They're all really, really damn hard, including Sypha's route, so... as you saw there, we did have some trouble. You know, I would have done a little bit better had I practiced this beforehand. Especially in the pirate ghost ship. You know, I got a little greedy with some attacks and some jumps, and I, you know, took a bat or 3 to the face and died because of it. But it's all good. Still a really tough route on Loop 2. If you're going to do Loop 2, I definitely recommend doing the Sypha route, because she is, I think, in this context, much more useful than other characters. But yeah, that is going to do it for me, guys. There is technically a Loop 3, but it's the same as Loop 2. You just play it again. So the only reason this would be significant is if for some reason you're doing some kind of like high score challenge, which I don't really recommend in Castlevania 3. Scoring in this game is not very interesting. Honestly, scoring in any Castlevania game is not particularly interesting. Really, the score only exists to serve, you know, to fulfill the extra life requirement some games like to have. You know, you do get extra lives from points, so if you're trying to get a 1 credit clear, that's the significance of score. But, you know, it's kind of pointless otherwise, no pun intended. So... But yeah, so no real reason to play through Loop 3 unless you're just trying to do another route on the same run. Just see how far you can get without continuing. But yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Anyone new to my channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button if you like content like this. This is basically what I do here on my channel, along with live streams. Anyone already subbed, thank you for your continued support, and thanks for checking out the video. Again, for those that have stuck around with me all this October 2022, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the content. Feel free to post some comments down below. And, yeah, I'm out. Everybody have a good one, and I guess until the next one, take it easy.